Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome. I am Lee Garrett. I am the past chairman of the Chamber Board of Directors and a member of the Chamber Governmental Affairs Committee. We're pleased to host this political candidate forum tonight, allowing the citizens of Loganville to hear from the candidates with opposition in the upcoming November 2nd election. Our timekeeper tonight is Ms. Carrie Rowe. Carrie is the Director of Membership and Events with the Walton County Chamber. She's going to hold up a sign that says 30 to 30, and Carrie will hold that up, and you'll have that's your 30-second warning, and then again she'll hold up a 10 for your 10-second warning. When your time is up, she'll hold up a 0 sign. At that time, please finish your sentence and your time will end. Our format tonight is this. Each candidate will have a 3-minute introduction. Following all introductions, we will ask the candidates pre-submitted questions. Each candidate will have 1 minute to answer each question, and we'll rotate the order of who answers the question first each time. Following the questions, each candidate will have a 2-minute closing, which can also be used for rebuttal if needed, and from other candidates to answer the question or questions they've answered. The City of Loganville has 3 council seats open and 7 candidates seeking to be elected to the council. Let me introduce y'all. Ann Huntsinger, she is the incumbent. Melanie Long, Terry Parsons, Sheena Rivers Devine, Rosa Steele, Brandon Whitfield, and James Wilson. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. So let's begin the forum. Each of you will have 3 minutes to introduce yourself, and we're going to start on this side with Miss Ann Huntsinger. Ann.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ann Huntsinger, and I am on the Loganville City Council, and I currently chair the Finance and Economic Development Committees. I'm really glad that you're here tonight. Thank you so much for coming. It's been a very interesting year. Tonight I want to talk to you a little bit about the past, and then I want to talk to you about the future. Development is a big issue in our city right now. As you know, a few years ago, a developer came here and wanted to spend $180 million downtown. He presented his vision in December of 2019, which essentially was a large apartment complex with restaurants, retail, and some businesses. As a result, the council voted in March of 2020 to cease any negotiation with him and to stop any further downtown development discussion. In the last 18 months, I've learned a lot. I've spent that time talking to citizens. I worked with the Citizens Advisory Group facilitating those meetings, and that is the group of citizens who put out the survey that you answered about what you wanted downtown. One of the things I would change if I could change is that we let a developer stand up in front of our citizens and present his vision. That was a mistake, and it was backwards. We as a council and a community and our citizens should have come together, found a developer to implement our vision. I will never make that mistake again. I want to talk to you, though, about the future, because the future is what matters now. I have 7 things, 7 goals, 7 measurable, attainable things that I want to do over the next 4 years. I've named them the Huntsinger 7. The first one is taking care of our city employees. They are our most valuable asset, and we don't want to lose them to other jurisdictions because their salaries are too low. In August, the council's already started doing that with American Rescue Plan money, not tax money, to reward our existing employees. The second thing is to market Loganville as business friendly. If we're going to bring a developer here and we want to develop something downtown, then we need to tell our businesses that this is a good place to be. The third thing is to go after our mixed use ratio. The ratio is what allows what comes downtown. It's a percentage based on residents, retail, restaurants, and other businesses, and we need to get that right. The next thing is architectural standards. What do we want our city to look like? The next thing, which is the most important and the least fun to talk about, is infrastructure. We need our citizens to expect that when the toilets flush, they flush right, and the faucets, the water comes on. Then the last 2 are the most fun, putting a plan together, gathering all the ideas we've done from the survey and putting them on paper, and then last, breaking ground downtown. I look forward to talking to you tonight. Thank you so much for your attention, and thanks for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Huntsinger. Next is Melanie Long.
Hi, I'm Melanie Long, and I am excited to be here with you tonight because for the next couple of hours, we're going to be talking about something that is extremely near and dear to my heart, and that's Loganville. I look around this room, and I recognize many faces here, and there's a reason for that. I am a 40-year resident of Loganville. And I'm not just a resident in Loganville. For the last 30 years, I have owned and operated Lock, Stock, and Barrel Locksmith Service. As a matter of fact, my shop is right across the street over here. I've served on the Downtown Development Authority. I was a charter member of the Loganville Chamber of Commerce. I am on the Historical Society for the City of Loganville. And I've sat behind many of you at the numerous meetings that I attend each and every month. So I know you. And more importantly, you know me. You know who I am. And it's no secret that for the last couple of years, most of us in this room have been unhappy with the direction that this city has taken. You know, there is so much more to Loganville than just the 6 square miles that we occupy. However, Main Street has become an overshadowing topic for this election. We're talking about 5 or 6 blocks that run right through the heart of our city, and that is what's overshadowing this election, so I want to talk about that. I don't think anybody in this room is opposed to the revitalization of our downtown corridor. I think the problem comes in is how that revitalization is executed. You know, Loganville has a rare opportunity right now. We own over 20 acres downtown, and we have one chance to get this right. So before one single shovel of dirt is turned over, I want the city council, along with the citizens, to create a master plan for our entire downtown corridor. You know, none of us wants a city that's been piecemealed together simply for the sole sake of doing something. And so that's why it's so important that we have a plan. Now, in order to achieve our end goal, we are going to have to sell some of our city properties. And before those properties are ever listed for sale, I want the council to set the zoning and the architectural standards for each and every piece of city-owned property in the downtown area. That way, any developer that walks into our town knows upfront what he or she can build in our city. There's a lot of groundwork that will need to be done before we're ready to begin revitalization, but I am committed to the citizens of this town, and I am ready on day one to get started to work towards our end goal. You know, ever since I said I was running for city council, Danny Roberts has said to me, you can't be out there promising anybody that you're going to be able to do anything because it just doesn't work that way. And Danny's right about almost everything, but that's something that he's not right about, because there are 2 promises that I will make to the citizens of this town. The first one is I will never vote in favor of apartments. My second promise is I will never vote to take anyone's home through eminent domain. So in closing, I want to thank each of you for taking the time to be here tonight. It's very important that you come out and meet the candidates so that you can vote for who you want to see represented on your city council. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Long. All right, next is Terry Parsons.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Terry Parsons. I graduated from Georgia State University with a bachelor's degree in business management. I've raised my family here in Loganville and owned my business here for 30 years. I'm currently the district advisor for our State Pest Control Association that I've been a member of for the past 25 years. I am one of the only 2 candidates currently running that openly fought against Connolly and the 800 apartments. I'm also the only candidate that was asked by City Council to sit on the Citizens Advisory Group, the 7-member group of people that crafted the survey we all had an opportunity to take advantage of. That survey and the hard work we've done for the past couple of years in charting a path for Loganville's growth has brought us where we are tonight. This upcoming election is the real survey. This is where the rubber meets the road. Who you choose to sit in these chairs will determine Loganville's future, and I want to be a part of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons. Next, we have Sheena Rivers-Devine. Ms. Rivers-Devine?
Thank you. Thank you all for having us here tonight and for having this forum and having the residents here. Thank you all for being here. My name is Sheena Rivers-Devine. I desire to be a part of the City Council Board because I'm interested in what's happening in our community. I've been here for about 5 years, upcoming 6, and I've noticed some things in the community personally because I live here. I have my business here and I patronize this area. My desire is to just be a voice, to be able to advocate, to hear what the citizens desire, and to be able to bring that to the table and try to come up with a plan that will be suitable for all. I'm new to city government as far as politics. I retired from the city of Atlanta, and I do know about city council and meetings and things of that nature. So I desire to be a part of something great, and I do feel that Loganville is a place where people do matter. And I desire that we become all-inclusive, that we're not separated because of ideas or mentalities or whatever the case may be, but we come together and cohesively try to get a resolve for our city that will take our city to the next level. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Riverstein. Thank you. Next is Ms. Rosa Steele. Ms. Steele, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you for having us here this evening. My fellow Loganville family, I am Rosa Steele. I'm asking for your vote to elect me as City Council member of Loganville. The Loganville municipal election is up on us, but you cannot be heard if you don't have a voice at the table on the many issues that we're facing right now, such as much-needed traffic light at congested intersections, reinvigorating Main Street. If you give me your vote, I will be the voice that you need at the table to make those things happen. As I sit here and I listen to the different things that the candidates are saying, excuse me. Rosa Steele, will work hard for you and your concerns. Early voting began October 12th through the 29th. Election day is Tuesday, November the 2nd. You can only vote at one location in this election. That's at Rock Gym next to the Loganville City Hall at 135 Main Street. I ask you to visit my website, Steele2021.com, to learn more about my platform. There's just so much that need to be addressed from my perspective in Loganville to make Loganville the best that it could be. You have a large segment of citizens here in Loganville that feel like they have not been represented over the past few years. They feel like they've been made promises and the promises haven't been kept. I want to be the voice for those people. Somebody needs to speak for those people. They pay the same taxes that all of us, the majority of us here in this room. I've been here since 2017. I was fortunate enough to live in a community of some wonderful people, beautiful ladies. Some of them are sitting in the audience tonight. I fell in love with Loganville. I love this small town feel that Loganville has, but we're losing that because there's just a barrage of development. I would like to see what I would consider wise development. There has been a lot of development that's taken place, but there's so much missing and things overlooked. You have a large segment of senior communities around Loganville, but you don't have a place where those seniors can come together and interact with each other, plan trips, go on trip, play games. I would like to see that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Steele. Next, we have Mr. Brandon Whitfield. You have 3 minutes.
Hey everybody, I am Brandon Whitfield. Thank you Chamber for hosting this event, and thank you everybody for coming here, becoming an informed voter. I'm terrible with technology, by the way, I'm sorry. For being here, becoming an informed voter really does make all the difference in local elections, so thank you all for taking the time out of your day. My name is Brandon Whitfield. I was born and raised here in Loganville. I went to Kennesaw State, and then I moved right back here and started my small business. I married my high school sweetheart, Rebecca, back there. She also graduated Loganville High School. And I have a 3-year-old daughter, Avery, that we're raising here in town. I'm very active in multiple local businesses that deal with real estate and property. I'm also an Eagle Scout and the vice president of the Loganville Legacy Lions Club. We're out there every Sunday and Saturday holding a bucket for change for our charities around town and our food banks. Please come out and support us. Every penny really matters. Sorry, I'm rushing a little bit. I got 3 minutes. Yep. I'm also the vice chairman of the Loganville Development Authority currently. I helped put on events for the city and working with the city's events team. We did the first annual Battle of the Bands to help bring people into town to spend their money here. And we also did the first ever Loganville Business Summit to say thank you to all of our city business owners. I really decided to run because of my family and my daughter. I want to make Loganville a town that she is proud to live in and a place that she could call her forever home. And to do that, we need to preserve our past to build our future. I want to listen to our residents to develop a viable downtown plan, a true live, work, play Southern town, implement strategies to improve the burden of traffic through our city, make sure first responders have what they need to effectively protect and serve, and support a business-friendly environment. My background in real estate, business, the connections that I've gained, and the experience on the LDA, along with being a lifelong resident, makes me uniquely qualified to serve on the city council because I know our people, our values, our history, and I want to save that. The people have spoken. No apartment complexes downtown. I agree. 90% want a park and walk concept. 83% think downtown is currently unattractive. Loganville is growing. There's nothing we can do. It's already here. But we have two options. We can either let it go on its own with no plan, no sense of where we've come from, or we can manage that growth to make sure that when it happens, Loganville does not lose its identity, and it has the infrastructure, the resources, the businesses, and the services that we need. Not only get through my term on city council, but well into the future. We can do it right, or we can do it over. And with my experience, let's do it right.
Thank you, Mr. Whitfield. And last but not least, Mr. James Wilson. You have 3 minutes.
Hello, everybody. I'm James Wilson. I'm running for City Council in Loganville. I am by no means a politician. I'm a son of a preacher man, raised in North Carolina. He moved to Ringgold, Georgia, retired, and that's where I met my wife. And, of course, her family is from Loganville. They've lived here for generations. And so when she decided to grow her roots, she said, I want to go to Loganville. I want to go to Loganville. So this is where we moved, and this is where we've called home since 2007. We've been a resident of Gwinnett County since 1998, and I'm presently a Gwinnett County Sheriff Deputy working with Kivo Taylor's community outreach for the Gwinnett County. And it's been very rewarding, and I am, like I said, not a politician. I'm a servant. And being a servant requires listening to the people of the city. And I'm not quick to speak. I'm somewhat of a quiet guy. But sitting, listening, and for many years here in Loganville, the city's usually been in good hands. And listening to the citizens over the last several years, I told my wife, I've got to do something. We've got to get engaged, and we have to do something for the city. We are in a pinnacle moment here in this city. We're being crushed by growth. There's nothing we can do to stop the growth. We're being crushed from Snellville, we're being crushed from Lawrenceville, Monroe, and within the next 2 years, we'll probably be bigger than Monroe if you look at statistics and the growth that we're presently having. Inside the city alone, we've got almost 14,000 residents. In the areas outside, you're looking at, what, 20, just a guesstimate of 20,000 residents. We're as big as Swanee. And we have nothing but a crumbling downtown that we have to maintain. We have to restore. It's historical. We don't need to lose our soul. And unless we grow, and we're smart about how we grow, our city will lose its mind, body, and soul. We need a place, oh, cool. Maybe I'll get down to 10, I'll get a perfect 10. So, we need a place where we can have our families come. We need a walkable downtown. We need green spaces. We need to challenge our children's minds, We need to, I got 10. 10. So, I mean, we need to bring in diverse development, diverse businesses to bring in tax revenue. And we need to build something in this city that will be self-sustainable for many generations for our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. All right. Next, we're going to come to the questions, and the questions are going to rotate. We're going to start down here with Ms. Huntsinger. We'll have the first question, and who gets to answer first will rotate down the line. Just remember that you have 1 minute to answer the question. When it hits zero, when Carrie hits zero, then you have to finish that sentence and we move on. At the end, you'll have 2 minutes to rebut the question at the very end of all of the questions. But everybody's going to get to answer the same question, so just remember that you'll have 2 minutes in the very end to be able to have any rebuttal of any answers of any of the other candidates. So, all right, let's begin the questions. Question number 1, and this is for Ms. Huntsinger first. What do you consider your most important leadership skill or trait, and how will that help you if elected to the city council?
I would like to state for the record that I do not want to go first anymore. I would like to go last on the closing remarks.
I can make that happen.
Awesome. What is the best leadership trait that I have for the council? It's probably a blessing and a curse in that I am stubborn. I am firm, and sometimes that rubs people the wrong way. But I do my research, and I don't give up. And there have been many times in the last 2 years where I have hung my head. But I'm still here. You know, I may not be the lady that gets invited to the local neighborhood bunco game, but I'm the lady that's up here working for the citizens every day and taking every hit I get. So I would say that I just don't quit. I stay at it. That's my best trait.
Thank you, Ms. Hudson. Ms. Long, the question to you is, what do you consider your most important leadership skill or trait, and how will that help you if elected to the city council?
I've always had an innate ability to connect with people. I can go into a room full of a diverse group of people, and I can find something in common with each and every one of those people. I also spend more time listening than talking, and I know a lot of you don't believe that, but that is true. And I've always been able to find a middle ground. There's got to be somewhere in the middle that all sides can come together, and I believe those are the skills that I can bring to the table. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Long. Mr. Parsons, the question to you. What do you consider your most important leadership skill or trait, and how will that help you if elected to the city council?
I guess it's because I cannot just sit on the sidelines in the many things that I've done over the years that I've been in Loganville, from Cub Scouts to church activities to my actions and interactions with the business community with respect to my industry, the pest control industry. I've sat on many committees. I've always been one that's wanted to be involved, and that characteristic is what just drew me here on this journey that I've been on for the past 2 years. I just can't stay away from being involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons. Ms. Rivers Devine, the question to you. What do you consider your most important leadership skill or trait, and how will that help you if elected to the city council?
I feel my most important leadership skill and trait is that I try to find the good in everybody, in every situation. I know that's not always the case, but what I try to do is whenever something is presented to me, I try to find the common denominator and try to make it work better for all. I'm a server at heart. I like to help people and serve people. And I feel as though being on the city council would give me that opportunity to not only be able to see what's going on from a closer perspective, but also understand, hear the people, and make a difference by letting them know we're going to do this.
Thank you. Next, the question goes to Ms. Steele. What do you consider your most important leadership skill or trait, and how will that help you if elected to the city council?
I think I've always been a problem solver. If I see a problem, I do my research, try to figure out what's the best solution. And I'm always been about that underdog. I hate when somebody feel like they've been pushed aside or left aside, and that's all I've been hearing since I've been campaigning. Too many citizens think they've just been pushed aside, or they just don't matter. And I just feel it's my responsibility as a citizen to step up, give them the voice that they need, that they haven't had the opportunity or feel like nobody's been representing them over the past few years or cycle. And just be that voice for them at the table to help solve the problems that they've identified to me that they would like to see addressed.
Thank you, Ms. Steele. Mr. Whitfield, the question to you, what do you consider your most important leadership skill or trait, and how will that help you if elected to the city council?
I would say my tenacity and my hard work. I work hard for a living every day, and I will continue to do so. There you go, is that better? I'll figure this out one time, I promise. And yeah, I work very hard when I get set on a task, like the Battle of the Bands. It was very hard to get everything lined up perfectly in time, to research everything going into that. So I think that is my best skill, is my hard work ability.
Thank you, Mr. Whitfield. Mr. Wilson, the question to you, what do you consider your most important leadership skill or trait, and how will that help you if elected to the city council?
Well, it's definitely not my good looks. But I have the ability to work with anyone. If I'm elected to the city council, I'll work with the council. There's nothing that can't be done. The citizens of Gwinnett, we have the resources. We have doctors, lawyers, engineers, all that here, not just Gwinnett side, but the Monroe side, right? In Loganville, we have all this talent. And I want to bring that together, listen to the people. I want to preserve human dignity that we have in this city. And that's one of my biggest leadership skills.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. All right, that concludes question one, and we're going to move on to question two. Ms. Long, you will get to answer this one first.
I don't mind going first because I don't like to be influenced by other people's answers.
All right, here's the question. Very simple. What's your vision for downtown Loganville?
That's an easy one because my vision is the people's vision. We have a lot of citizens that have a lot of ideas about downtown Loganville, and I want to bring all of them and get them extremely involved. We need some green space. We need some retail. I'd like to see ice cream shops and things like that. So my vision is the people's vision, and I would go to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Long. Mr. Parsons, the second question to you. What is your vision for downtown Loganville?
Oh, you had to ask. I look out in this audience, and there's so many people here that already know where I stand. Y'all know I want a walkable downtown destination area for this city. I want to see a revitalized city hall. I want to see a rent-controlled shopping area to encourage small businesses. I want to see a green space, a park down on that city hall area. If the people decide they want a library on C.S. Floyd, I want to create that walkable downstairs and make Main Street with shops and upstairs one loft condos that people would own individually or rent out. That's what I want to see our downtown turn into, a destination place, so that people can come to the town and enjoy themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons. Ms. Rivers Devine, the question to you. What's your vision for downtown Loganville?
My vision for downtown Loganville would be to have Loganville Main Street more accessible to people, as council member said, with the walk space, having the ability to give us a facelift and have us look more modern and be able to attract businesses into our county so that we can keep our tax dollars and our money in our county, so that people would want to be a part of our county and come and support what we're doing here in Loganville.
Thank you. Ms. Steele, the question to you. What is your vision for downtown Loganville?
I would like to see downtown Loganville, while I wanted, as you said, given a facelift, I would like to see that old town look still there. I think that's the charm of downtown Loganville. I also would like to see that walkable green space that I keep hearing. That I think is ideal. I would like for them to create a space to be created for local businesses to come in, mom and pop shops. Maybe you can go and get, donuts and coffee on the weekend, after church on Sunday, a space for a family can come together and create some memories for the family. That's what I would like to see.
Thank you, Ms. Steele. Mr. Whitfield, the question to you. What's
A
your
lot of the
vision for
same.
downtown Loganville?
A lot of the same. I love a walkable downtown and, you know, just that look very good. I like to blend our older buildings and blend them with the new buildings that we're gonna need to build downtown for the new. I would love a restaurant with a rooftop patio so we could eat and overlook the town green and stuff like that. I would love an ice cream shop. And a lot of that is possible if we get the right people in there. We need a plan to incorporate everything together. And that's where I would really like to get the arts going here in Loganville. Maybe getting a local troupe come in once a month at the Rock Gym to put on a show. And yeah, there's a lot of good stuff that we can do downtown. I'm really excited to get started on.
Thank you, Mr. Whitfield. Mr. Wilson, what's your vision for downtown Loganville?
It's the same as just about every member running for city council. You know, I want to revitalize downtown because we have a rich history there that we do not need to lose. It is our soul. That main street is the soul of Loganville, and we must revitalize that. We need a, you know, walkable downtown with shops, with diverse retail. You know, I know the library is a hot subject. You know, you know, whether we want to rebuild or build a new one. But think about a media center with the library, with a community center, with the coffee shops, where people can come and kids can come and groups can meet and spend money downtown, spend their time and enjoy it.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. And you still want to go last?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. So tell us your vision for downtown Loganville.
Well, I think first you have to decide whether you're asking this question as a council member or as a citizen, but I'll give you both. As a council member like Melanie, my job is to implement the citizens' vision for downtown. What I'd like to see also is a walkable downtown, but I want brick buildings and classic looks with flowers in hanging baskets. I want to enjoy a bottle of wine. I want to enjoy a glass of wine with my husband outside while I have a steak.
Chardonnay.
Whoops. So, I mean, I know what I want it to look like in my head, and on my website, loganvillestrong.com, there is a whole page about what I want to see. But ultimately, I want to do what the citizens want to do. I don't want a big apartment complex. I'd love to put my business downtown. Downstairs, retail and restaurants, upstairs, businesses, even loft apartments, doctor's offices, I'm all for it. But I want to do something, and I want it to be beautiful. I want it something that we can all be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hunsinger. Okay, candidates, we move on to question 3, and Mr. Parsons, you get to answer this one first.
Oh, God.
All right, question is, please provide examples of how you have contributed and plan to continue to contribute to the city of Loganville to make it a better place to live, work, and play.
Wow. Where to start? I coached baseball. I've been a part of scouts. I've held car shows. I've been to many council meetings. I've been to Chamber of Commerce, Board of Commissioners. I've been before the Board of Education. These are things I've been a part of in my involvement in the city over the 30 years I've been here. I have fought for the past 2 years, along with others, to craft that survey that you are about to take in November. That is the attributes that I brought to this table, and others have worked hard for. This council has worked hard for it too. There's nothing to take away from them on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons. Ms. Rivers Devine, the question to you. Please provide examples of how you have contributed and plan to continue to contribute to the city of Loganville to make it a better place to live, work, and play.
Well, as I stated before, I am new to Loganville as far as years of being here. But since I've been here, I do have my business here. In the summertime, I do hire youth and give them summer jobs and teach them how to work. I also do outreach projects as far as serving seniors, and I also have a life insurance company, so I do serve a lot of seniors. So just being a service to the community, plus I patronize the businesses right here in Loganville. I go to the Kroger, everything where I shop is in the area, as well as my dry cleaners. So I would like to make it my business to continue to support the community, at the same time offer service to the community. Now that I'm learning of the different organizations here, I would love to be a part of it and to help enhance whatever we have going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rivers Devine. Ms. Steele, the question to you, please provide examples of how you have contributed and plan to continue to contribute to the city of Loganville to make it a better place to live, work, and play.
As I stated earlier, I've only been in Loganville as a permanent resident since 2017. Although I was introduced to Loganville in 2008 by virtue of my daughter moving here because she thought it was the perfect place to raise her two young sons after becoming a newly single mom. But I fell in love with Loganville, and there's a certain charm about Loganville that, I don't know, it just grabs you, and I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. So I want to do everything I can as a person of service, as a member of this board, for the people. Again, it's about being the voice for the people that feel like they've been left aside, just been pushed aside for all these years. That's been here, as long as some of the people out here in this room said they've been here. Just be that voice for those people, represent them, let them know they do matter.
Thank you, Ms. Steele. Mr. Whitfield, the question to you. Please provide examples of how you have contributed and plan to continue to contribute to the city of Loganville to make it a better place to live, work, and play.
Being vice president of the Loganville Legacy Lions Club, we've raised over $100,000 with a bucket outside of Bojangles over the past 4 years. And we've given almost every penny of it to food banks and charities around town. I've been a big part of that. Put on the Loganville Battle of the Bands, the first event ever for local artists to come out and showcase their skills. And the business summit here in town I helped put on to just say thank you to all of our business owners. It was pretty much a party for them. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you're a business owner in town, in this room, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Whitfield. Mr. Wilson, the question to you is provide examples of how you've contributed and plan to continue to contribute to the city of Loganville to make it a better place to live, work, and play.
Well, I'm part of been part of the silent population who's been watching, because like I said, our city's always been in good hands. We have a great city. We have a great flair, great charm to it, great people. Yeah, I'm in law enforcement. I've been there almost 15 years. I've kept the citizens safe on the Gwinnett County side. I've worked at local food banks. I've been a girls softball coach, boys football coach. I got two daughters and a son. They love sports. And I plan on contributing and continue contributing to all these different events that we do have, especially the one coming up in Halloween. I love candy. I don't know if you know that, but I do love candy. So, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson.
Yes, sir.
All right, back it down here. Ms. Hunsinger, the question to you. Please provide examples of how you've contributed and plan to continue to contribute to the city of Loganville to make it a better place to live, work, and play.
Thank you. I think the clearest example of my contribution has been as city council for the last 4 years. Somebody asked me maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago how many hours I'd spent on city council, and documented, because I keep track of it for my business, which is also here, was 568 hours. When you're on city council, you're on 24/7. And to give you an example of that, on one of the Facebook pages, maybe 6 months ago, somebody said that there was something that smelled really bad. And it had been ongoing, and I'm on the phone with the city manager at 9 o'clock at night to try to get it fixed. There was a break, we fixed it. But it means always being available to the people. That's in addition to the work I do with QuickBooks and other businesses here in the city to help them. But I would continue to do that. I mean, I have a plan for the next 4 years, and I'm going to execute it.
Thank you, Ms. Hunsinger. Ms. Long, and lastly, the question to you is please provide examples of how you have contributed and plan to continue to contribute to the city of Loganville to make it a better place to live, work, and play.
I've been very active in the city. I attend almost every meeting that occurs here, and I will continue to do that whether elected or not. I served on the Downtown Development Authority, and we're the ones that brought the LCI, the Living Centers Initiative, to the city of Loganville, that actually started the process of bringing a downtown, a walkable, live, work, play to downtown. And I'll continue to do that. And just as a resident and someone that is in tune with the citizens of this town, my shop across the street, Again, almost daily, people come into my shop and they either have a complaint about the city, a complaint about things that are going on, or they just want to give me some advice or ask for advice. And they know that I'm the person that they can come to that can be a liaison as a citizen, because I know everyone in the city and I'm willing to work and help anybody find an answer to their problem.
Thank you, Ms. Long. All right, now we're on to question 4. Ms. Rivers Devine, you get to answer first this time. Here's the question, and it's another simple question. What's the role of a city council member?
A city council member role is to be the legislating body, and they mediate between the citizens as well as the mayor and our city council, and try to come up with a solution that will be best for everybody. So the city council member, we're actually the legislating body. We're to make sure that whatever laws or motions or whatever is trying to go forth, that we facilitate it in a way that is presented correctly and that we can all come together and agree on the outcome.
Thank you, Ms. Rivers Devine. Ms. Steele, in your opinion, what's the role of a city council member?
The role of a city council member, I guess I could echo what Ms. Devine said, is to help legislate the ideas of the people that they represent to the mayor, and working with the rest of the council members to come up with the best solution for those citizens to implement what need to be implemented on their behalf. Basically, just the overseer of the city is what I would say.
Thank you, Ms. Steele. Mr. Whitfield, question to you. In your opinion, what is the role of a city council member?
A lot of the same. We'd make motions that could be enacted. We'd have to vote on it, of course. And there's also be a role model for the city. Make sure that you have the ethics and the honesty and everything in place that you would like to see from our city and who represents the city. And really just be a cheerleader for the city. Encourage people to come out to events. Encourage people to want to be here in the city, and just thank everybody for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Whitfield. Mr. Wilson, in your opinion, what's the role of a city council member?
The biggest role of the city council member is to listen to the people, because without the people, we wouldn't have a city, right? And that is the biggest role. Also, the role of city council would also be to legislate, to work with the mayor, to try to bring the people's vision to fruition. And that's the biggest part, and to do what is best for the city.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Now back down to this end. Ms. Hunsinger, in your opinion, what's the role of a city council member?
I think primarily the first role of the city council member is to be the conduit from the citizens to the city government. We are elected by the people, so we have to listen to them. That's our job. That's our number one job. But each council member is also the chair of a committee, so I'm finance and economic development, which means I work with the city staff and the city management for budgets, looking at expenditures, what's in the budget, going after grants. So everybody on city council has to learn the area that they are placed, on which chair they are. So ultimately, it is listening to the citizens, putting things into place, and then assisting the city staff, because they need our support just as much as the citizens. So it's a complex role. There's a lot to learn. It's takes about 6 months to kind of even know which way is up, or it was for me. So,
Thank you. Ms. Long, and now the question to you. In your opinion, what's the role of a city council member?
Well, obviously it is to govern and legislate the activities of the city, but I think it's more important than that. I think that the 6 people on city council are people that you trust, that you sat on the city council to represent your voice and make sure that you're heard when there's an issue. So I think listening and working with people is first and foremost role of a city council member.
Thank you, Ms. Long. And lastly, Mr. Parsons, question to you. In your opinion, what's the role of a city council member?
The role of a city council member is to be the liaison between the people and the government. And that expression of the people to the council is what implements the future of our city. And we need people that we can trust, that have a vision of where we want to go, so they can be, or we can be, the liaison that you desire, so that we can get our government to work for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons. All right, we're on to question 5 now. Ms. Steele, you get to start with answer the question first this time. And here's the question. What do you see as the number one challenge facing the city of Loganville over the next 3 to 5 years, and how would you work to address it as a council member?
The number one problem that I see is traffic. The traffic is horrendous here in Loganville. And that is as a result of the growth that's taken place over the past few years. As a city council member, if I am blessed enough to be part of this board, that's the first thing that I want to work on. Over the next, I say 3 to 4 years, I would say, bring it, I know, as I've heard many say, that you can't stop growth, but what I would like to see is more controlled growth, bringing in the right businesses, not so many chains. I mean, how many oil changes place do we need? Anyway, that's it.
Thank you, Ms. Steele. Mr. Whitfield, the question to you. What do you see as the number one challenge facing the city of Loganville over the next 3 to 5 years, and how would you work to address it as a council member?
Traffic again. That is really the biggest problem that we have. Even what she said, like with growth, people always say we don't need more growth because our traffic is already horrible. We need to put a plan in place using like the community development block grant that we get a certain amount every year we can apply for, and we can use that for roads. We need to have a council that can work together and put apart, like Monroe's doing 10% of their road repaving every year. So every 10 years, all their roads are pretty much getting done. We need to enact a program like that here in Loganville. And looking over the finances, I was told that it's about $400,000 to redo an intersection. And the CBDG, we got denied at $1 million, so we'd have to go back and ask, I say about $700,000, and use what's left for roadways and even sidewalks in downtown. We got people that walk from Line Street to downtown and have to use parking because they can't safely walk here.
Thank you, Mr. Whitfield. Mr. Wilson, the question to you. What do you see as the number one challenge facing the city of Loganville over the next 3 to 5 years, and how would you work to address it as a council member?
The number one problem we have is traffic. That's no doubt, which, you know, a lot of that is due to growth. Like I said earlier in my opening statement, we've got 14,000 people living downtown, and within the unincorporated areas, you're looking at around 20,000. And then you've got the through traffic that going to Monroe, and then you got all the growth coming up to Gwinnett from Snellville. And we need to manage that. We need to manage how the city is built. We need to manage, do we want them to go around, go through? Because if we add more roads, that's just a liability that we have to repave every year. However, we must do something. We might have to add roads. As far as the big interstates or the highways, there's not a lot that the city council does that can control that. That's the Georgia DOT. But we can give them ideas and let them know what our wishes are.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Ms. Huntsinger, the question to you. What do you see as the number one challenge facing the city of Loganville over the next 3 to 5 years, and how would you work to address it as a council member?
I think our number one challenge right now is our city is fractured and has been over the last 2 years. There's a lot of distrust. People don't believe, nobody knows really what happened. I mean, nobody really feels like they know what happened. And that's been really hard. We have two sides here in the city, the people who feel like they got, lied to, and then the people that work to try to get something done that didn't tell a lie at all. My goal going forward is to build that trust back up. That's my primary goal. As for traffic, I don't know if you know, but we can't as a council affect traffic on the state roads. There's nothing we can do. And when it comes to oil change places, as long as the business goes where it's zoned, we don't get to state that either. We have a great public utility and transportation chair, Bill Duval, he's sitting back there. He works for the DOT, and we've gotten more done, I would say, in the last 2 years with him here than we've done in a long time, and we're working on the Publix intersection in 2 to 3 years. But I want to bring this community back together.
Thank you, Ms. Huntsinger. Ms. Long, the question to you. What do you see as the number one challenge facing the city of Loganville over the next 3 to 5 years, and how would you work to address it as a council member?
Unchecked growth is probably the root cause of most all of our problems. That we have a failing infrastructure, we have traffic problems, and as Ann said, a lot of people don't realize, there's nothing that city council can do that GDOT, and we are cross-sected by 3 major state highways, so all we can do is be worked with GDOT to work with those traffic problems. So there's nothing we can do there. But I would like to set more defined ordinances and zonings so that we can encourage the kind of growth that we do want to see in our city. Like I said, the unchecked growth is where a lot of our problems stem, and I would like to start there and work on and getting a handle on our growth.
Thank you, Ms. Long. Mr. Parsons, the question to you, what do you see as the #1 challenge facing the city of Loganville over the next 3 to 5 years, and how would you work to address it as a council member?
Well, I think traffic notwithstanding, but the #1 challenge that will face us in the next 3 to 5 years is developing downtown, is creating the downtown destination we all want. That is what the new city council will be charged with after November 2nd. That's where that council should begin to lay the groundwork for our future in what we want in the way of development. DOT is DOT. They're a force unto themselves. So we just have to live with that, but focus on the things we can do. And with you focus on those things, the rest will fall in place. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons. Ms. Rivers Devine, the question to you, what do you see as the #1 challenge facing the city of Loganville over the next 3 to 5 years, and how would you work to address it as a council member?
I would say the biggest challenge that I can foresee, is growth. When we moved here 5 or 6 years ago, we didn't have as many people that we have now. Everyone has found out Loganville is a great place to be. So they are coming to Loganville to live and to raise their children and to be a part of that hometown feel, as one of our other candidates said. So growth is the factor. What can we do about it? We have to come together. We may have to incorporate other counties to help us as we try to structure something that's going to be beneficial as a whole. Traffic comes with growth. And there's nothing we can do, as they said, unless the DOT get things going. But we as citizens, as we grow and as we come and as we continue to come, we have to create an environment that's going to be conducive to all of the traffic that we're experiencing from the growth.
Thank you, Ms. Rivers Devine. All right, we move on to question 6, and Mr. Whitfield, you get to answer this one first. Here's the question. Tell us how you have supported the Loganville businesses located on Main Street.
Oh, goodness. Jamie, I've bought a lot of tires from him over the years. I just actually went and talked with Donna today at Flex Body Shop. My sister's been going there a long time. She's back there. She's supporting me tonight. And along with my wife, she did her Zumba classes for many, many years. We get smoothies there, you know. There are some new ones I do want to check out, like the Maker Studio. My wife does those craft days where they go and do building stuff, and I'm pretty sure her and her friends will be going there sometime pretty soon, especially around the holidays.
Thank you, Mr. Whitfield. Mr. Wilson, question to you. Tell us how you've supported the Loganville businesses located on Main Street.
If you could tell, I like to eat. I really do. And, of course, when I get home, take the vest off and everything, I don't want to go to Snellville or anywhere else. We shop in Loganville, unless it's something we can't find here. I mean, I buy my tires, groceries, gas, everything's in Loganville. That's the only way we're going to survive as a city, is to draw in people to spend their money. And, that's all I can really say.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Ms. Hunsinger, down to you. Tell us how you've supported the Loganville businesses located on Main Street.
Well, we've been to Braxton's, and I would say that I go to the barber shop, but I don't go to the barber shop. My husband goes to the barber shop down there. He's been seeing Greg forever, and I've had tires at the tire dock. But unfortunately, that's about the extent of my patronage on the Main Street businesses, and I'm sorry to say that, except that I don't know what else we can do down there where it is. There's not a place to eat. There was a retail shop. Susan Boss had a shop there, but it left because of lack of patronage. I would like to see more down there. That's really what I'm talking about when I talk about a downtown. Robust, beautiful downtown. Places to shop, places to eat, places to patronize with small businesses. I have a small business. I know Melanie does. I know Brandon does. Terry, I think you do as well. I want to support small businesses downtown, for sure.
Thank you, Ms. Huntsinger. Ms. Long, tell us how you've supported local businesses located on Main Street.
Well, from my history, I actually owned a shop for 10 years on Main Street, so I know from where I speak on the Main Street district there. Jamie Toller, he is my tire guy. Call him any time of the day or night, and he'll get me in and fix me up. I can't tell you, you go in my shop over here, and a lot of the stuff over in my shop I bought from Braxton's Auctions there. My sister's Antiques, they're the sisters, Christy and Angie, they're good friends of mine, and I've helped them. We've had a good relationship over the years. When I see new businesses come in on Main Street, I'm one of the first people that will post a picture and promote, and I'm like, hey, y'all, look what's come to Loganville, because I know what it's like to be on Main Street, and I know that you need the people to come off of the Highway 78 corridor and the Highway 20 corridors here, and you need to draw those into those areas. So I am not a maker, so I have not been to the studio, but I did actually post her picture when she first came out. The Christmas shop, I was a supporter of the Christmas shop. There's a lot of business. Shay Shay's on Main used to be here a long time ago, and if you gave me a second, I could tell you a lot of the businesses that were there, but I'm very active and support the Main Street corridor.
Thank you, Ms. Long. Mr. Parsons, tell us how you've supported the businesses in downtown Loganville.
Well, I've bought gas from Jamie's dad, along with tires. I ate at the Catfish House when it was there on Main Street, which is now the Green. I've had Wayne Hurst do my furniture. I've had Gene cut my hair. I've been, well, there's not much left now, but, and I frequent the Methodist Church and been down to the Loganville Baptist Church. Braxton's, I've bought stuff over there, and I've eaten at Miss Doc's restaurant, by the way, which is not that bad, y'all. So, yeah, I've been up and down Main Street a number of years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons. Ms. Rivers Devine, tell us how you've supported local businesses located on Main Street.
As everyone else, Doc Tire is the place that we end up at. In addition to that, some areas on Main Street I've not frequent because I like to eat different kinds of food or whatever, but I've definitely been to Doc Tires. I've been over to the, I actually did an outreach right there at the O'Kelly Library. So just right there in that little area, I've patronized the Doc Tire shop. But I would love for it to be revitalized with different businesses in there that I could patronize on a regular basis.
Thank you. Ms. Steele, the question to you. Tell us how you've supported local businesses located on Main Street.
That old tire shop again. And I have spent quite a bit of time in the O'Kelly's library. But it's sad that I can't say that there are other businesses on Main Street that I visited, because that's just how badly it needs attention. That's a clear indication something is missing.
Thank you, Ms. Steele. All right, we move on to question 7. We debated on whether to change this question because we've heard so many of you mention it. We're going to leave this in. Mr. Wilson, you get to answer this one first. Traffic conditions. Many of you have mentioned that here. Traffic continues to be a hot topic in Loganville. How could the city council help alleviate this traffic congestion?
With my name starting with Wilson, with W, it's nice to go first every once in a while. Like we've mentioned earlier, there's not a lot that the city council can do in regards to the main highways coming in to Atlanta. That's something we have to work and ask the DOT to accomplish for us. And as far as some of your local roads we have inside the city, I mean, we can try to revitalize some of those. The road like Main Street, I don't know if anyone has seen that in a while, but our sidewalks are what, 1950s, 1960s? We've got to do something about that. Of course, the DOT controls a lot of that Main Street on the road. So there's not a whole lot we can do about roads. As far as traffic, we're pretty much at the mercy of the DOT when it comes to traffic.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Ms. Huntsinger, traffic continues to be a hot topic. How would the council help alleviate some of this congestion?
Well, I think that one of the big misnomers about the city council is that we just sit and wait for the DOT to tell us what they're going to do, when in fact the city manager and the city council has continual meetings and conversations with the DOT about problems that we see. We do traffic studies, we contract with engineers. A lot, I don't even know if y'all know this, but when the DOT wants us to talk to them about an area, we have to shoulder some of the expense for some of the engineering studies before they'll even look at the project. So one of the things that we've already done, and I mentioned it before, is we had a meeting, I think about 3 months ago, with Bill Duvall and our public transportation to talk about the Publix, because Publix is terrible. So on 78, what we're talking about is a light at 78, rights only from Walmart to the library, and that going direction towards Athens, and rights only the other way with a stoplight in the middle. But that's a 3 to 4 year process before we see it come to fruition. So we're working on it. I mean, there's a lot going on. It just doesn't happen very fast.
Thank you, Ms. Hunsinger. Ms. Long, the question to you, as traffic continues to be a hot topic here in Loganville, how could the city council help alleviate this traffic congestion?
Well, as we've already established, that the city council doesn't have any authority to actually accomplish anything other than to work in hand with GDOT. Recently, the city did have a traffic study, and I was very active in encouraging citizens to participate in that. I continued to post that online and say, hey, go fill out this survey. I would talk to my neighbors and say, look, if you have complaints, you got to fill out this survey. You got to have a voice. You got to use your voice to say what your thoughts are. And I'll be honest with you. It was very sad when I went to the traffic study result meeting, and I was one of only a handful of people. I would say of the citizens that complain about the traffic that night, there were probably less than 10 people, 10 citizens that showed up to look at the results of that study. And it was, again, gathering information and working, again, to give your voice. And it was just, people complain about traffic, but they don't show up when the time comes to make their voice heard.
Thank you, Ms. Long. Mr. Parsons, the question to you is, as traffic continues to be a hot topic here in Loganville, how could the city council help alleviate the traffic congestion?
Well, like many have said, they basically will have to work with the DOT. However, the people have to voice their opinions to the DOT, because the DOT puts those feelers out there so they can gauge interest in what's going on or concern. And in addition to what the DOT is planning, they're doing a bunch of cotton picking roundabouts down Highway 20 and some kind of median just short of 78, which basically is going to kind of cut people from my side of the community away from getting into Publix. So if you're not there voicing your opinion, DOT doesn't even know whether you care or not. So there go the bulldozers, there goes the concrete, and you wonder why you can't turn left anymore.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons. Ms. Rivers Devine, the question to you, traffic continues to be the hot topic here. How could the city council help alleviate this traffic congestion?
One thing I did enjoy is I went to Monroe's traffic study as well as Loganville's, and I like the fact that the DOT was there, they were on site, they gave you paper so that you can write up what you feel needs to be changed, place it on the area you think the changes need to take place. The only thing that was missing, as Ms. Long said, was the people didn't turn out. So we need to have a voice about the traffic and work with the DOT, or just encourage them in what we feel would be beneficial to our community.
Thank you. Ms. Steele, the question to you, as this traffic continues to be the hot topic in Loganville, how could the city council help alleviate this traffic congestion?
Well, I keep hearing that, everything's in the hand of DOT, so I guess we would need to communicate to DOT some of the things that we need immediate action on. One thing, one of the problems I see with traffic is the traffic light timing. You stop at some of the traffic lights here in downtown Loganville area, and you may have to sit through 3 to 4 flashing yellow turn signals before you get a green light. That makes no sense. So these are things like that need to be communicated. And I did have a conversation with one of the DOT gentlemen that was at the meeting that we had here in Loganville, and communicated that to him directly, that needs to be addressed, because people need to be moving. They need to keep moving. If you sit in traffic, you're not able to go anywhere. You need to keep the traffic moving. That's the whole idea of a traffic signal. Keep the traffic moving.
Thank you, Ms. Steele. Mr. Whitfield, the question to you, as traffic continues to be the hot topic here in Loganville, how could the city council help alleviate the traffic congestion?
The current city council has been working on it, and takes time, just like Ann said, it takes multiple years. Now, the streets we can control, they need work. They are below average according to GDOT and in Georgia. So we do need to work on a repavement program of those roads. Like I said earlier, it'd be a 10-year process, do 10% a year based on the funding that we get in. I don't want to put us in a financial situation where we can't, use it, but at the same time, we should look at other creative solutions like more sidewalks so people can walk around the community better, so they don't have to drive 2 or 3 blocks to go park on Main Street. They can just use their legs.
Thank you, Mr. Whitfield. Okay, now, we finished with the questions, and now all of you will have 2 minutes maximum time to give your closing remarks. And we're going to start at the other end of the podium, or the other end of the table here. Mr. Wilson, you get to go first. You get a total of 2 minutes.
I am asking for your vote. Like I said, I'm not a politician. I'm not a spokesperson. I'm a servant. I'm a public servant. I've been a public servant for many years. I've worked around the food banks in the communities with the youth. But in order to help Loganville, we need to create an atmosphere where everyone's welcome downtown. We need to develop walking spaces. We need green spaces, maybe a dog park. We need to partner with a developer who has our vision, the citizens' vision of what we want Loganville to be. We need to find ways to bring in diverse retail development into our downtown. We need to offer a place where we can promote public safety, promote economic development, our sport innovation toward our young people, whether it's a community center, a library, a media center. All these things are at the point that we're in, this pinnacle in our history of Loganville. And unless we bring our vision to the city council and listen to the people, bring it in, we're going to die. To do nothing is to die. We have to grow because it's among us, and there's nothing we can do to stop it. As city councilman, or if I'm elected to city council, I promise you I will listen to the cities. Do I want 800 apartments? Absolutely not. Do I want apartments? I don't like apartments. I want to revitalize downtown. I want to bring in that retail. If you would like to read more about me, you can go to LoganvilleSmartGrowth.com. And it has a website that you can read all my ideas. I hope I got enough tens to win.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Wilson. Thank you. Mr. Whitfield, total of 2 minutes for your closing remarks.
I'm actually going to keep this pretty short and sweet because we have been here a long time, and I appreciate y'all sticking around this long. Look, unfortunately, we are not a small town anymore. We've had a 35.1% growth rate in the last 10 years versus 15% in the county as a whole. We are in a growth period right now, and it is important to take the right steps now before we lose our small town culture that brought us all here in the first place.
Thank you, Mr. Whitfield. Ms. Steele, you have 2 minutes to give your closing remarks.
Thank you all for giving us this opportunity this evening. I'm going to make it short and sweet as well. If I'm blessed enough to become part of this board, then what I would do, working with my council members, every decision that I make will be driven by whether it adds to or take away from the quality of life of the citizens of Loganville. Because all I've heard since campaigning is they just feel they've been just let down. Not able to get out of their communities. A 10-minute run taking them 35 minutes, 20 minutes of that is just getting out the neighborhood. So that's what I would like to do. I would like to be the voice for those that haven't had a voice or feel like they haven't had a voice. And I think we should do a better job of letting the citizens know when we are doing these traffic studies and all of these things, because a lot of them said they hear nothing about it, they know nothing about it. They are not, they just feel like they're being left out. Again, need to be a better effort put forward to inform your citizens.
Thank you, Ms. Steele. Ms. Rivers Devine, 2 minutes for your closing remarks.
Thank you again for staying. It's been a while. But if I am elected to city council as one of the city council members, the one thing that I would love to try to implement is inclusiveness. I would like to be in a position where I can include everyone, how you feel about what's going on in Loganville, what we can do to make Loganville better. At the end of the day, it's about making this city a great place to be. It is already a great place to be, but you want to remain. And as people come in and as it gets crowded and it gets overwhelmed, we want to be able to make sure that we serve the citizens in a manner that will be beneficial to the whole. Right here in Loganville, it's a family feel, but coming from a pandemic and being at the house and not being able to be out and get together, now is the time that we're coming through this to be able to come together and be able to make a difference by making it just accessible to everyone to voice their opinion, to say how they feel, but most of all, let's put some action behind it this time. Let's try to really get some things done. Thank you for your time. If you want to talk with me, I will be here afterwards, and it is an honor to even be a part of this council right here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rivers Devine. Mr. Parsons, you have 2 minutes for your closing remarks.
I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I want to thank the Chamber for putting this on. It's really interesting sitting back here behind this council table. I like this chair. But keep one thing in mind. We have all, and all of you out here, I see so many people that we've worked so hard to get where we are today. This election is that important. Never take that away. No matter who you vote for, tell your friends, get out and vote. Because who you pick is going to determine the groundwork and the future of our city. And I think that is the most important thing. And that's what this forum has brought to y'all tonight. So you can spread the word. So no matter who you like up here tonight, vote. Tell your friends to vote. It's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed being up here. I've had a blast. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons. Ms. Long, you have 2 minutes for your closing remarks.
I think a lot about our founding fathers, and I think about what their mission was. And their original intent was for this country was for that we would get together every other November as a community, and we would pick someone that you respected, that you thought would best reflect your interest of yourself and your neighbors and your community, and you'd send them to Washington, D.C. Well, I don't have a desire to go to Washington, D.C. I have a desire to serve my city, the city that I love so much. And because of a position I took 2 years ago against the Conley era mess, whatever you want to call that, because of that position I took, and I would volunteer repeatedly, I would have put in applications to serve on different committees. I was repeatedly denied because of my position against their agenda. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was telling her that, and I was so upset the last time I got denied to serve my city. And she said, you know, they're never going to let you serve. And I said, well, you know what? I'm not going to put my faith in the politicians. My faith is in the people. So my faith is in the people, not the politicians, and my faith is in each person in this room. And if you believe in me the way I believe in you, I'm asking you for your vote, and you put me on this council because I will be your voice, and I will serve this city with every fiber of my being, and I will be here till the day I die in this city that I love so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Long. And lastly, Ms. Hunsinger, you have 2 minutes for your closing remarks.
Thanks, Lee. The first thing I would ask you is that no matter who you vote for, you use all 3 of your votes. Because if you don't use all 3 of your votes, you're going to let someone else pick your third. The second thing I'm going to ask you to do is think about the faces that you've seen here over and over and over again, who have worked, no matter which position they have taken, who have worked to move our city forward. The biggest reason you should vote for me is my experience. I will hit the ground running day one. And as I said earlier, this job comes with a learning curve. I'm an accountant, which makes sense that I'm on the finance committee and I chair it, but government accounting and regular sector accounting is very different, and it took me a while, and I know the numbers. The other reason to vote for me is I have a measurable set of goals, 7, the Hunsinger 7, things that we can get done, not promises about fixing traffic, because you can't fix traffic, not promises about getting fewer oil change places, because I don't have control of that either, and nobody on the council will. I will be straight with you always, and you know what? After the last 2 years and all the hits I've taken, and some of you out there know that I've taken a lot of hits, I haven't quit. I've never given up. Going back to the first question about leadership traits, I will still serve you whether you like me or not, but I will always give it to you straight. If you want to know more about me, you can go to my website, loganvillestrong.com. I appreciate your vote on November 2nd. I do have a housekeeping item, though. Someone said earlier that everybody votes at the Rock Gym. That's not exactly true. If you are a resident of Gwinnett, you vote at the Rock Gym. If you're a resident of Walton, you vote at your regular precinct. Early voting for everybody is at the Rock Gym, but I was told by Christy Ash, who's our elections lady, that if you go to vote early at Meridian Gym, at Meridian Park, you will also be able to vote for the city. They will pull that ballot, just so you know. Just wanted to put that in there. Thanks,
you.
everybody. November 2nd, Ann Hunsinger.
Thank you, Ms. Hunsinger. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming and supporting this process, and candidates, thank you for participating, and everybody, let's give the candidates a round of applause. One last, just a reminder, as Ms. Hunsinger said, early voting begins next Tuesday, October the 12th. Election day is November the 2nd. This concludes our forum. Thank you for being here, and we are adjourned.